What up, SNA Assassinators? This is Super Ninja Austin back here with another video. And today we're going to be talking about, or tonight more likely, yeah, because it's nighttime already. But yeah, we're going to be talking about what exactly went down on NXT on the November 12th edition of the show. And they did a super good job on tonight's show, to build things up for next week, like with the number one contenders match for the NXT Tag Team Championships, and like the rematch was solidifyingly satisfying, I guess you could say. Well, no, I'm not sure if I should say put it in that term. Maybe like solidifyingly interesting, like in. Given that this rivalry could continue, but we also got some a few qualifying matches that was very good as well. And I'm wondering who's going to win these the Iron Survivor match at NXT Deadline next month in December. And let me know in the comment section right down below who you want to win and who do you think is going to qualify next into the lead up of the Deadline match, and who's going to be the ones that's going to qualify, of course. And we also got some continuous pushes for both of the two former women's New Japan Strong champions, even though, like, maybe y'all probably would expect them to just go their separate ways after they took care of Roxanne and Cora Jade in that 10-woman tag match. But maybe this is a great idea to continue to keep them like a duo until like when it comes to the championship, like with especially like with NXT deadlines coming up, and maybe we can see like one of these women, if not both of them, will be qualified in the Iron Survivor match. But we're gonna continue. We're gonna be starting off with them, like in the match they faced off against the very amazing, I'll say, Meta Girls, Lash Legend, and Miss Jakara Jackson. And yeah, and I'm wondering, like, are they still gonna have? Is WWE still having plans for them to move them over to the main roster, whether if it's Raw or SmackDown in the women's tag division? I sure hope that's going to be the case, but. For now, we got this that I can lean back on, but this is where they send a message that they're going to beat. This is where we got Jakara Jackson and Lash Legend claim that they're going to beat Stephanie Vaquer and Julia, and they're going to pay for what they did. They did last week when they dived onto them when they were interfering in their 10-woman tag main event match. But let's just tell you, they were not telling the truth what exactly they were going to do. If anything, they hardly got a few offense in, but that's about it. That's all I'm going to tell you, a little bit of a spoiler. But let's start off with Lash Legend and Julia, where Julia, going for a headlock. This is where Lash Legend tried to pick her up and try to back suplex her, but this is where we got the pretty hot mess, then jump right out of her grasp off the bougie bully. This is where she pump kicks her right to the right corner side. This is where we got Lash Legend go for a pump kick right back at her, showing her strength that she's like 10 times strong. Maybe I'm exaggerating, maybe only half. But this is where we got Lash Legend then tags in Jakara Jackson. They double Irish whipped the former New Japan Strong Women's Champion over to the top corner ropes, flapjacker, double flapjacker while Lash Legend runs right to the left side, goes for an elbow drop, and then she encouraged Jakara Jackson to run and do her maneuver onto the Julia, which was a running side rope middle drop kick. She tried to go for a pin, but she roughly got a pinfall of one. This is where, but this is where we got. Jakara Jack tried to go for a German suplex onto Julia, but this is where Julia tried to try to go for a German suplex of her own, but she turns to a wheelbarrow, but she only got like a 1.9 count. This is where then she tried to go for another roll up right after Stephanie Vaquer. Julia tried to go for a little pinfall roll up, but this ended up she countered it, go for a wrist lock, brought her down, did a what's that called, like a feet standing what's that drawbridge position, into a pin, but this is where it got backfired into Julia going for a crucifix pin, but it's where it only got her to, I'll say, the 2.3, if I'm mistaken, is where then Julia kicks Jakara Jackson after saying she's not trying to cause any chaos, and this is where. But then she kicks her in anyways. But this is where once she Irish whipping her to the upper right quarter side, she tries to go for a splash, but she gets kicked right to the gut by Miss Jackson. This is where Jakara goes for a missile drop kick right off the top rope, which she managed to do so. This is where she tried to go for the pin. But this is where we got she gets immediately kicked out. But once she threw the Julia right into her side, like that was a big mistake because she not only like that Julia got back into the offense position, but she tagged in Stephanie Vickers. She tripped over Jakar Jackson when they both Irish whipped her to the right side, tripping her face first right into the left corner side rope, and then Stephanie Vickers go for a 619. I'm not sure if it was inspired by Rey Mysterio or not. Like, given that she didn't really mention that she got the move from the legendary Latino luchador. So I'm not sure what to say about that, but I'm still going to call it a 619, the leg swinging kick into the middle rope maneuver to our opponent's face. This is where we got. That's where we got Stephanie Vickers and Julia did what's that called, a handshake into an elbow drop. This is where we got Stephanie try to go for a pin onto Jakar, but this is where Jakar kicked out of it. This is where we got Stephanie Vickers picks up Miss Jackson. Irish whipped her right to the top corner side. This is where she bowed her head down, which that probably was a big mistake. But what wasn't a huge mistake is when Stephanie Vickers manages to get out of the blunder that she actually got herself into. This is where when Jakar Jackson tried to go for a sunset flip, we've taken advantage of the moment. She hits a double foot stomp right to the face onto the Meta Girl member. This is where she runs right to the left corner side, hits a leg drop, and this is where we got Stephanie Vickers and wrap her legs around what's her name, around Jakar Jackson. This is where then she got into a triangle lock, like choking her neck and her throat. This is where then she turned her around, started hitting her face first, right onto the canvas, like she's been doing since her time in NXT as of late. And I'm pretty sure she did that in other companies, like especially in Mexico, and that one in particular. Even though she only wrestled a couple matches there, which I know one I'm never going to forget in particular. But this is where we got Jakar Jackson then go for a jawbreaker right onto the Chilean wrestler. She tags in her partner, the Bougie Bully. This is where Lashton came in, hit a big woman's right, like if she was the next Lacey Evans, then she's no longer in the company. This is where we got. This is where Lash was like, okay, you're next, and this is where then Stephanie Vickers, not Stephanie, Julia was like, oh, you really think so? This is where she tried to go for a crucifix slam, while Stephanie Vickers super kicked her right in the face. This is where she tried to go for a crossbody, but this is where we got Lash Legend and hang on to her like into a power slam position. This is where they did a double dribble, if I'm mistaken. Like we're going to the a double dribble, like with Julia right behind her, like into like a Samoan drop kind of position, while Stephanie Vickers got her in the fallaway position, but the dribble like up and down right to the middle and the top corner rope, and then this is where then she try to drop what's her name, Julia, but this is where Julia nearly got her into a crucifix pin, but this is where then. But this is where then he dropped her off. You guys, it would have been useless to hit a move that she was thinking about doing. This is where she tags in. Okay, no problem. And this is where she tags in Jakar Jackson. But excuse me for a moment before I can talk about what happened with when the Meta Girls finally got back into the offense side. Excuse me, okay, back here, Assassinator. And anyway, this is where we got. You got what's her name? Lash Legend and Jakar Jackson was ready to hit their double team diving maneuver with Lash Legend picking up her partner Jakar. This is where she got her foot right onto her shoulders. She then tried to go for a dive onto both women from the international wrestling scene. This is where then. That's where then they did the Meta Girls poses that they normally do, like when after they do a dive like that, like if they're their own version of DIY. Once they hit their suicide dive, they do the clap of applause and a pat on the back. But once the adverts was off, like which is the most powerful force in all professional wrestling that came off like in commercial break. That's where then we got Julia was back in control. And the offense side is where she hits this counter suplex that Jakar Jackson was trying to do to her, but she ends up getting a 1-2 ooh. Is where then she this is where she got her down right to her corner in the bottom right side, bottom left, upper left side actually. This is where she tags in Stephanie McCurr. This is where then she throw it right into the middle rope. This is where she gets roundhouse kick by Stephanie. This is where she gets pump boot right to the midsection. Both women then try to go for like a double wrist lock into a double back suplex onto the Meta Girl. Remember, this is where Stephanie McCurr tried to get a try, and then maybe she would have gotten away with it sooner if it wasn't for the meddling bully, which is the bougie bully herself, Lash Legend. But this is where the Lash Legend was like, you're not going to get away with pinning my best friend. And this is where then Julia, this is where Julia was hanging off her side into the left corner apron. That's where she hits a middle drop kick right on the Lash, nearly right at the what they call the right at the what's that symbol? The steel steps. But this is where when Stephanie McCurr got her back turned, is where she nearly got a win gotten taken away from her, like of an upset. But it was where like when she got hit with a wheelbarrow version of the surprise roll, the most devastating move in professional wrestling. But Stephanie kicked out of it, like, and this is where. And Jakar Jackson still wasn't giving up right on Friday. They were to try go for a back-to-belly maneuver, but this is where she gets countered to like a snap mirror, like toss right face first into the top turnbuckle. She tags in Julia, missile drop kick. And this is where they're not done yet, because this is where then we got other Stephanie McCurr hits that double underhook backbreak maneuver that she normally do. And this is where we got both women and pick her right up. That's why they like 1, 2, 3 double knee strike, like if they're their own versions of the Young Bucks doing the EVP trigger, like, but it's more forward rather than side to side. But this is where we got. This is where Julia got the gave what's her name? Lash Legend, not Lash, Jakar Jackson the pinfall, which she finally got the 1, 2, 3. And the winner of his match, Julia and Stephanie McCurr. And even though this was probably like a women's mid-card tag team match, it still like showed some interest of watching it. Like it's like something that the fans would love to see. Like whether we're casual or the hardcore fans, like it's something that you definitely would not decline watching. Like and it's featuring like two of the most popular and international women, like in all of the wrestling scenes, whether if it's in America, Mexico, Japan. Like they're very red hot right now, and WWE is absolutely lucky enough to sign them into a contract, because they could have easily went to the other show and they could be killing it there. But this is where we got an in-ring interview with him, like in the ring with the journalistic interviewer, like was asking like yeah, what a big win, like just weeks away before God's respective qualifier match, and the